All right, so for more reaction to Winnipeg's Game 5 win, here is our very own John Liu. And John, you know, we've been talking about Mark Scheifele for the entire show. Did not play in the second and third period after taking a couple of really big hits. Any update at all, John, on his status for Game 6 on Friday?
Yeah, Jay, well, there was no update from Scott Arniel. He said that he didn't have any new information and that would be forthcoming perhaps tomorrow. Wasn't able to say whether Mark Scheifele would be on the plane with the rest of his team when the Jets depart for St. Louis around noon Central tomorrow afternoon. And, well, there's bad blood off the ice now as well, Jay. Scott Arniel was upset with the fact that St. Louis Blues coach Jim Montgomery insisted that Mark Scheifele suffered an injury not on the Braden Shen hit about 6 minutes into the first period, but rather on a Radek Faksa hit with about 3 minutes left in the first period. And Scott Arniel took great exception to that, calling the validity of Jim Montgomery commenting on another team's player's injury situation into question. And so that ratchets things up. This has been an intense physical series from the opening minute of Game 1. And now we've got arguably the Winnipeg Jets' best player potentially on the sidelines for who knows how long, and his status up in the air with all parties, certainly on the Jets' part, concerned and upset about it, Jay.
And John, you know, you alluded to it, very physical series. Blues have been all over the Jets' top players. How important has the secondary scoring been, especially in that game number 5?
Well, immensely important, Jay, that tonight's the middle 6 forwards checked in. That Nino Niederreiter, Vlad Nemesnikov, who had yet to score in this series, they both got to the score sheet. And so Vladimir Nemesnikov in particular, he hadn't scored since March 11th, but he's been the Jets' Swiss Army knife for all season long, really. They're de facto 2C, but he was promoted into Mark Scheifele's position as the 1C in the absence of number 55 for the last 40 minutes of the game. And so Nemesnikov really came through, getting a big goal and really helping drive that offense. And that's something that the Jets absolutely love him for, because no matter what situation he's called upon to fill, he does it to the absolute best of his abilities. It may not be a long-term solution, but he certainly is somebody who brings exceptional value to this club, and he did tonight in spades, Jay.
And Connor Hellebuyck pulled in back-to-back games. He said he would be better in Game 5. He didn't have to make that many saves, but was he better in Game 5 for this team?
Well, yeah, he was, Jay. And you hit the nail right on the head. The Jets were so good in front of him through 40 minutes that they only gave up 9 shots to the St. Louis Blues. But Connor Hellebuyck was really good when he needed to be. There was a stop, a shorthanded 2-on-1 in the first period where he made this diving paddle save that absolutely wowed his teammates, wowed the crowd, kept the score at 1-1 at that point, gave his team the opportunity to keep getting to their game. And then in the third period, when the Blues were putting on their push, they got more shots in the third than they did in the previous 2 periods combined. About 8 minutes into the third period, Hellebuyck makes a point-blank save in the high slot with his pad, kept the game still, allowed the Jets to hold their lead and not get into tight collar time down the stretch. And so, yeah, Hellebuyck was better. He did give up a goal to Jimmy Snuggerud that he probably would like to have back. But as he said a couple of days ago, in the playoffs, he doesn't care if he gives up 1 goal or 6 goals as long as the team wins. And he was an integral part of their win tonight, Jay.
And the Jets will have a chance to wrap this up Friday night in St. Louis. John Liu, always a pleasure. Thanks for this.